Hello, I'm Rachel Lambert and I'm one of DFID's Rural Livelihoods advisors working in our programme in India. And what I want to talk about is our programme in Western Orissa, where we have a large programme working in very remote areas. This programme is tackling climate change adaptation in a very practical way and reducing poverty. Over the last few years, it's lifted more than 27,000 people out of poverty, and this is in one of the poorest parts of India, really one of the areas which has been left behind in India's rapid growth and move to middle income status. Very remote area. Tribal people who live there are amongst the poorest groups in India and have the most appalling levels of hunger and malnutrition. These sorts of people, these people are really in some ways some of the earliest victims of climate change. Small changes in rainfall can really push people back into poverty. These sorts of areas are already, communities there are already dealing with drought every 5 to 6 years. They're finding that dry spells between periods of rainfall are becoming longer. So they're already dealing with drought, and I think we're seeing the early effects of climate change in these areas. So how is the programme, how is it working to reduce poverty and deal with the effects of climate variability? By increasing incomes from farming activities, from enterprises. We're seeing huge changes in migration. Distress migration is really reduced substantially. And people are feeling that in terms of a reduction in the numbers of days when children go hungry. So in many ways, I think this kind of programme is at the cutting edge of climate change adaptation. It's already dealing with those impacts and building on the ways in which communities have been coping and continue to cope with drought. One of the interesting things is, what does government think about it? This programme actually builds on Government of India's own investments in watershed programmes in these sorts of areas. And I think what's interesting about the Orissa programme is that the state government of Orissa is convinced by the results on the ground. They're also convinced by the economic case that's presented by the project. And they're using their own resources to scale up these kind of approaches in other parts of the state. In fact, they've now committed £26 million of their own resources, alongside those of the central government of India, to scale up these approaches and to replicate what's been happening through the DFID-funded programme elsewhere in the state. So at the moment, I think DFID, like many other donors and many other partners, is looking for answers and practical models to the challenges of climate change. I think we'll be grappling with that issue for some time, but part of it is that in many parts of India, we and other partners are already dealing with these challenges. We are already working on models of climate change adaptation, because these programmes are dealing in very practical ways with how people survive and manage and deal with the kind of day-to-day grind of hunger. They are tackling the issues of water scarcity and how do they manage water more effectively to grow crops and to feed their children. And so this is very much part of, I think, our effective with how we deal with these challenges of climate variability in a more effective way. As we go forward, we'll learn more about maybe additional ways or new emphases that can help us strengthen our approaches. But I think we are already working on this. We do already have models that are delivering results.